This is a Bay Original podcast.
Hi, welcome to KOKKA TALES. My name is Nicole. I'm here with Neil Zara, and our guest today is Carla Cicluna, an Olympian Maltese sprinter.
Hi, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you for coming. So, we can start it, first of all, with your course at university.
Yes.
So, you're studying medicine.
Yes.
Yes.
How has it been so far?
So it's, as people say, it's tough. I mean,
I can't imagine.
people describe it as you're always studying, and it's true. I mean, the course is just, it bombards you with information. I mean, it's very interesting information because it's about the human body. So that's why this
Very
is
up
part
your
of
alley,
why
I
I
would
like
imagine.
studying. Yes, it's quite tough, but it's rewarding at the end of the day.
And you
That's
always
good.
wanted to go into medicine? It was always a
I mean, you know, when you're young and you always say, I want to become that, I want to become that. I've had a lot of career changes. I mean, my first career choice was a hairdresser. I don't know
Fashion
why.
designer.
I don't know why. But then when you're in Form 3 and you start to choose. And then we started doing science about the human body. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do.
It's one of those topics that you really get into it
Yes.
when you're at sixth format and
And
secondary.
knowing that as a job, it's so rewarding and the satisfaction you're going to get from it. And like, you're really helping people. It's what really drew me
It's
to
the
it.
definition of helping people in reality.
It's true.
I'd still stick to a T.
100%. So, as you said, the course is difficult. I can't imagine doing medicine and being an Olympian at the same time. So how has kind of university helped you get through that and kind of encourage you to do sports as much as you can and
I
continue
mean,
your
I
passion at the end of
started
the
the
day?
sport. I was in secondary. I mean, secondary, it's quite chill when you compare it to uni.
Extracurricular stuff in the afternoon.
Like, at
Every
that
day
time-
something.
Like at that time, O-levels were, oh my God, O-levels, and you
This
start
big
panicking and
thing.
private lessons, whatever. But I always managed to keep the sport. I remember going to O-levels. I remember I had, like, for example, my biology O-level. I kept on going to training after. So it was always like, you know,
That seems to be a recurring thing.
Uh-huh.
We'll come to that later.
like I always, at the back of my mind, I always know I have something, so I have to
Yeah.
go to it. It's not an option.
Mashak.
I mean, I used to miss out sometimes, you know, because you get stressed or like it's normal. But at the same time, I always knew I had something to go to.
Echo.
And uni, I mean, there's a student athlete program, and that helps. Like, they do help you. Like, they sort out your exams, your timetable with your competitions. So
That's great.
they do try and help, and it's a very good initiative. But I mean, with the course,
It's a lot.
Time management, no?
a lot of planning from before. Like, it's good, like, if I know I have competitions throughout the year, if I know I have competitions in summer or during exams, I know I have to work harder from before. I have to plan much from before.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a very early bird, so I wake up early and I make
Fancy.
sure.
Wow. Night owl.
But then at 10 I'm asleep. I'm dead.
Isra, I can stay up till like 3 a.m. working, but don't tell me to get up at 8.
No, I'm the opposite of that.
No, I can't imagine.
I'm sure that helps then because as an
100%.
start,
I mean, you have to be disciplined with yourself. Like, I know that during the day, at 6, I have to stop and go to training. So before 6, I have to finish what I have to do and whatever. I don't always finish it. I'm not.
but still,
But you have to like plan it out.
And you have training usually in the mornings, or is it like mixed between the day?
The benefit of athletics, if I have something in the evening which I can't miss, I can go train alone in the morning. If it's a team sport, it's different. You have to train with the team. So that's an added plus. But like, I usually train in the evening, which it's better because even uni is usually in the morning. And with my course, it's better as well because we have like lectures till 5.
Okay, so at least you have an end
I
time.
never have till 8 or till 7.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's
you know,
big plus.
it's easier to plan like
compared to
that.
other courses.
100%.
What's
yes.
difficult in my course is that our timetable changes weekly. So I can't like plan out.
From way before. It
I
needs
have
to be a weekly
see
thing.
the timetable, exactly.
Okay.
More planning. Okay.
Exact.
More planning. More weekly planning. And how did you get into athletics? Was it something like you did in secondary?
Or did you just run? And,
Just to run.
So-
Forrest Gump, let's run.
So since primary, I always like, stood out a bit from the rest, like when we had when we had races or sports, they always used to be quite far from the rest. And I remember then my I started a bit of, but it wasn't serious. I used to go like once a week.
Okay.
And then I remember my PE teacher, she was like, I have to start taking it more seriously, like try. She gave me contact details. I had a friend who used to train.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with her. Cause
it's always easier to have a friend.
Exactly.
Cool. Someone to lean on.
From there, my coach, like, she's been there from day one. And she was like, okay, like you have something, you have like some talent, you have to work on it. Like
That's
from
great.
there it started.
So thank you, PE teacher, for that.
Thank you, PE teacher.
That's great.
And in terms of the sport, I'm not a sporty person myself. Let's start from there.
We're more theatre kids.
What does
but
athletics include in your case?
So it's a variety of events. So we have track and field. So track, there are events which range from 100 meters to 10K.
Okay.
Wow.
And there's short distance, the sprints. There's 400, it's considered the long sprint because it's like one whole lap. Then there are the middle distance events, and then there are the 5Ks, 10Ks. And then there is the field events. So field, there is jumps. So we have long jump, triple jump, high jump. Then there are the throwing events. So it's literally a big mix of people. Like you have throwers who won't even sprint or run.
Extra.
So you
have
can choose what you do whenever.
Yes,
you don't
like-
have to do the whole.
Like when you start athletics, you basically do everything first.
To see what you're good at,
And
what
you're
you
young,
like.
Okay.
a lot
You have
of
energy.
So I think the coaches just try to waste all the energy the kids have.
Fair.
Then like when
Good for the parents. They'll go to sleep.
you start showing some skill in some event, you start specializing in that event, you know. But like there are some jumpers who sprint as well because
Why not?
Yeah. You talked about like your motivation to do medicine, but like what's your motivation to run essentially? Like, is it because you're good at it, or did you like develop a passion for it throughout
Does
the
it give you
years?
something back.
I mean, you have to have a passion for it. It's really easy to just stay at home and study. It's much easier to do that,
I can
especially during
imagine.
exams.
Amen.
But I don't know. It gives you another type of satisfaction, and like knowing that you're pushing your body to like the sport. Like what I do, it's a 100-meter sprint. It's literally all out, all your energy, and just that 100
Wow.
meters. Manash, even like going out from the blocks, it's like so explosive, and like you're pushing your body to its limits. It's like manash, I don't know how to explain it.
It's like a drug, I guess. It's like
It
that
gives you adrenaline,
energy.
even when you're on the block. Like
In
especially
anticipation
when I was there, like at the Olympics, it was like, oh my god.
I can imagine. As in, speaking of the Olympics,
Olympics.
how was it? I mean, I can imagine it was amazing.
I think I'm still quite numb to it all. Like I haven't really processed it yet. Like sometimes I was like, oh my god, I was actually there. Like even watching posts on Instagram, I was there and she's sick.
I can't imagine it. It's amazing. It's like the
Since
highest.
it was postponed. It was meant to happen last year, but because of COVID, and they postponed it. You were meant to also go to the
No,
previous versions,
so-
or they changed stuff around.
So basically, the selection process happens like who has the best times, who has the best performances this year.
Okay.
So last year I didn't have it. I wasn't that person. So it's like I was bummed because of COVID. We couldn't, because usually when they go to the Olympics, you spend 3 whole weeks there.
Sure.
You can go to all the events. You can go sightseeing. There we had to just go for your event. When you're done, you leave and you just stay in the Olympic Village. You can't go watch any other sports. So those restrictions, they were a bit like I couldn't have the full Olympic experience. But then I kept in mind, people, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have been there because they would have happened the year before.
Yeah.
So
Everything happens for a reason, kind of. Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Did you meet anyone famous while you were there?
To be honest, so going there, everyone was like, you have butterflies, like how you're feeling. Like on the flight to work when we arrived, I was fine. I was quite calm. In fact, I was like, am I even normal? But then when I arrived at the track and I started seeing all these people, which I've been like
Looking up to and sort of following.
and
what
I
they
seeing
do.
them face to face training, the butterflies were legitimate. I was starstruck.
I can imagine. As in, these are people that you've been seeing for
Like
a
that was the
while.
moment I realized it's mom.
It's real.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm this good. So I think when it comes to things like sports and the arts and all of that, Malta has a very grey area when it comes to how much we support them and all of that. Do you think that we support the sports enough for them to become actual careers and for people to actually get into it full time and, you know,
To be able
train.
I mean,
do their
looking
best.
back,
Yeah.
it has improved a lot.
That's
Like nowadays, you have some professional people. It still has to improve a lot if you want to, you know,
Up.
get to that level of medals, etc. Which I think we can, because it's not a matter of many people use the excuse of having a small population.
But-
I mean, it does affect it because if you look at China, that Algerians don't have someone.
They have a
Vera,
pool, you know.
Vera. But
Plus the government helps, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
But I think there's still this really old mentality that when you're في السنة طول levels ترتي off. I have to stop. It's not even a
School
sport.
takes first and then everything else takes a
Shay,
step back,
and they
kind
start
of.
from the beginning of the year, like I have to focus on my levels. Or like
Yeah.
for example, in my case, I never look at it that way. So we mentioned medicine. I know that third year is gonna be tough, and everyone mentions semester 2. We don't plan from now. I'm gonna stop.
Cool.
I just go with the flow. I see how things are.
Try your best.
But now, like you can't plan from now. But the mentality, it sometimes doesn't come from individuals. It comes from like
That's
relatives
around.
and your
Yeah.
family. And I mean, they want what's best for you, Vera.
And school is seen more of a career goal
But that's
rather
the thing,
than
like I myself can't see myself doing athletics professionally because I won't make a living out of it.
Yeah.
Like in Malta, if you want to go professional, like there are some sports like football, fine, you get paid. But for example, there's Yasmin Zamit Stevens. She's a professional weightlifter, but she herself doesn't get paid to do it.
Astra.
She has a lot of support, like because I spoke to her. Like,
As in, I'm pretty sure we're on the plane together. Yes, hi.
but that's the thing, tipo, sport isn't looked at as a career. No one looks at it,
Yeah.
even the arts. Like, if you want to focus on dance, I think many people just go abroad. To have a job in Malta as a dancer, I don't really know, but
Yeah,
Or as a
no, it's the
singer,
same
actor,
thing. As
performer,
in,
acting,
It's very
the
much
arts, it's like
take care of
taboo
yourself.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like it's not something.
100%. That section.
And I think
Literally.
people shy away from it as well because knowing that you're going to have a stable income from it.
It's scary, 100%.
It's like, so people are like, is it even worth it?
Echo. And I think we lose so much talent like that because
That's the thing. Like, for
Literally.
instance, imagine have people at 16, they stop doing the sport. It's very rare they start it again.
Yeah.
And even to start from scratch again.
it's so much more difficult
Like,
than
min jaf kemm hemm nies jintilfu, like, all that potential is lost
literally.
from that. Like, you never know what can crop up.
100%. Do you think there can be something that policy-wise can help with making it more of a thing that people go into sports and that it becomes a career?
Or amalgamate it with their work life.
Exactly.
know,
Encourage it at schools, stuff like
It
that.
has to really start. I mean, it's really easy here. It's easy for here. It's easy for me to come
Let's
here and say,
let's change
Isma, sport has to be a career. Pay these people. It's really
Give me
easy.
money.
You have to be real.
Like,
Yeah,
you have to have
cool.
people who are going to be committed to it. Like, they have to be people that day in, day out, this is going to be your life. There are no off days for the sport. Tipo,
Your
if you're gonna
full-time
get paid
job.
for it, it's going to be your full-time job.
Literally.
Tipo, I think that some people would, you know, so if you're going to get paid for it, offense, يبدأوا yeah. It has to start from schools, I think. I don't know what schools are doing nowadays, primary schools, but I remember we used to have PE maybe 2 times a week, once a week.
And it's usually shared with
Sometimes
drama,
even
for
once
example.
every 2 weeks.
I mean,
mean,
and when you get to secondary, it becomes even worse most of the times. It gets reduced even
and
more.
sixth form, like Shay.
Yeah.
I think it should daily. You have an hour, make the kids
Go for
have a
it.
lot of energy wasted,
Echo.
man. Like, enough.
Echo.
Get
100%.
active.
And I'm sure it will help the obesity problem we have in general.
Exactly.
That's-
For sure,
Exactly.
for sure.
Like,
It's a health issue as well, apart from...
and just having an hour, even half an hour a day, the kids do some sport, it would even help the kids. People, I really like doing this, I really like doing that. And maybe
Yeah.
they start doing it after school as well. Because
Echo.
there are a lot of children which do not practice anything after school. And I'm not saying sport, it could be any other hobby.
But it's so important. I think you learn so many core skills from these kinds of activities at the end of the day. You know, timetable, dedication.
I really vouch for having not having a sport. Like, I even tell my friends something which, you know, it's like not
Beyond.
part of your daily life, but
Yeah.
it gives you something to fin, some satisfaction. It could be a hobby, even cooking or baking something, but like give some time for yourself, an hour, whatever.
Cool. And these things are so attached to someone's personality and their
Exactly.
kind of
Outlook,
way, literally,
stability,
it's so
so
important to have
wide-ranging
something like
effect,
that.
so.
And I'm sure it's so draining to just go to university, for example, and then go home and then
You know,
go to
personally,
university.
I don't
and
know
go home.
how people, in my course, they manage to just full-time, constantly study. Like, I need that break. A
Yeah.
mental break from,
Mental,
and especially now that it's online. You need, like, I
from
used
the
to-
screen. You
Like some
definitely
people
need
used
that
to spend the
break from
whole week
screen.
inside. Actually, they don't have anywhere to go. As example, daily, I have somewhere to go because I go to training, as example.
And it's outside as well. You get some fresh air.
And even mentally, it helps you that at least you're
Something,
going out.
exactly.
At least you have to change your clothes and prepare, especially
Cool.
now with COVID and lockdowns.
It's a bit of a routine that went on even during COVID, which is great because so many people lost their routines during COVID, which is...
But I think out of COVID, I think some people have found
Their niche.
everyone was inside.
Yeah.
Everyone was bored. So I
They
think some
got into
people,
the
some people
banana
found
bread.
something passionate they can do.
Yes, for
Like some
sure.
people started home workouts and they kept it like till now because
Which is great. I think it gave also people that time to like be like, listen, work is at home. I am here 24/7. Let me
Exactly.
find something to do
Exactly.
at least because I'll go crazy. Because you can't even go out and see your friends.
So
Sometimes that's
one
the going
benefit
out, you know.
COVID brought with it.
Yes, one. There's one.
We'll take it.
So this year, a lot of Olympians were women as well that came
Yes.
out of Malta. How was that? Like athletics and all of that. Sports is usually considered quite a male-dominated sport. How does it feel being a woman who managed to be an Olympian, who's in sports, and you're so young as well?
Even on a national level, as in more importance is given to male football and
It's
male water
true.
polo.
It's-
Than anything else. It's true.
I mean,
So
that's quite
Literally.
true. Even semplicemente media coverage. Sometimes it's so focused on football and the
Yeah.
males. And like female football is quite, although it's a small community, it's quite neglected in that matter.
and
for
they're
instance.
very successful, as in they do really well. So it's quite a shame.
In general, I think women, if you even looking at sports, the level of it obviously is lower than males. So it's easier for women to reach it, if it makes sense.
Okay.
So there, for me, it's this more difficult. But I mean, 4 out of 6, which were women, was a,
Good.
it
Kind of makes you think that gender equality
I mean,
is coming
even-
into the sport.
my course. For sense, there are a lot of girls, and there are a lot.
University-wide, isn't 60% of uni is female.
And that there's that mentality that we can't have a family and
Being
Yeah.
professional at the same time.
tough it. So knowing that there are so many people in the course who are, well,
It's
Living
great.
this life.
Yeah. And even I think when it comes to sports, there's a lot of really bad press on the idea that you become too muscular or you won't look feminine enough. I think it's such, sorry for the word, bullshit.
yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's such bullshit. As in, why would you reduce a woman to such standards when she's good at what she's doing? As in,
Exactly. And why
What's the
should
point?
anyone fit
But
in
even the
that
idea of, that
category?
women are for, having a family, maybe not everyone wants kids,
exactly.
And
But-
Exactly.
They should be celebrated for choosing that path. and
100%.
beyond
100%.
having to
Well, there are
fulfill
like
that.
athletes, like my idols. There are who went to the Olympics this year and got medals, who had children and went and bounced back to the sport. That to me shows that
Wow.
women are capable of,
Exactly.
After
just as much
pregnancy.
as men.
Popping a human and gold medal.
Pumping a human.
I mean,
Wow.
there's particularly this athlete, Alison Felix. She had a daughter, and throughout her pregnancy, she had a contract with Nike. She was sponsored, whatever. She
Wow.
was a Nike athlete, but because of her pregnancy and her daughter, they dropped her contract.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So she literally went all out. She has her own brand now.
That's great.
She
That's
wore her own
great.
shoes. Like she
Wow.
has her own brand.
That's great.
And she changed that. Now Nike changed their policies on these things. So
Of course,
she
it does make
literally
sense.
revolutionized a bit of the sporting scene with regards
On
to
her
women
own- on her own
and
accord,
kids.
isn't it?
That's great.
Because of what she did.
I never even thought about pregnancy, as in it's not an issue, but it's definitely something to consider because you have to. Do you stop training during that time? I would imagine for a little bit,
To be fair,
or reduce it.
what's really funny is that most of the athletes which had children, they had it in a particular year where there weren't any major competitions. So they planned these things. I mean, their life revolves around the sport.
So they have to think about it.
It's something to think about.
In the same way you
Definitely.
think
But to
about
me, that
yourself.
they bounced back. For example, this one, Alison Felix, had a C-section. And
Wow,
it's
that's quite difficult.
like, wow.
You definitely put your
Physically,
body
it's a
through
massive
Even childbirth in
through a
general,
lot.
like,
Yes,
the toll it
100%.
takes on the body.
Amazing.
And to reach that level again, amazing.
How do you kind of push yourself to do your best constantly? Because like you said, it's like a release of all your energy at the same time. Like getting to that stage where you're like, listen, I'm going to go. It must be. I can't imagine having that feeling.
How do you prepare for it? As in, what would be the routine
I
before?
don't have a particular routine, but to me it's important that if I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be my best. So even I take time to do my hair, I do makeup, I have to look my best. That's like, you have to feel good. And then when you're there, it's just a matter of, like, obviously when I was there were high top level athletes. Just have to keep in mind that it's you and the finish line. It's just you against the time. It's you
Wow.
against the clock. It's like you've been working day in, day out so hard for this moment.
At that point, you just need to go.
Then you just have to like hype yourself up a bit. You start like telling yourself stuff and you start getting a bit angry. Like,
Have any
Isra?
music you listen to pump
I
yourself?
don't have any particular music, to be honest. It's like feel good music. It's like I have to be in a good mood. And
Nice.
what's really important for me is I have to remain calm.
Okay.
Example, I like chatting to people before. Like I remember in my first race there at the Olympics, I made friends with someone from Palestine. I mean, we started speaking about the situation in Palestine, obviously.
Obviously.
But I mean, we still chat now. But it's because I like chatting to people before. Some people just like
Calms you down.
start getting in the zone.
Yes, and don't look at me.
To me, I start getting so...
You are one of those people. Don't
I would get so anxious and would start overthinking the situation that I wouldn't do well. I prefer chatting and remaining calm and then just like, okay, when I'm at the starting line,
Then you go.
is that.
Okay, so that's
Yeah. You already mentioned some athletes that like you look up to or have a particular story about, but is there one particular person that either inspired you or you really look up to as, wow, I'd love to be where they are right now?
even historically.
Yes, even historically, they don't need to be alive.
I don't know.
They
I
might
look...
not even have to do anything with sports. In
As-
general,
very
just
true.
A persona.
Yes, someone to look up to.
Not supposed
I
to be
look
sport.
up... I mean, there are obviously family members who I look up to as well. But I think most people I look up to are in sports, fortunately. I mean, they're sure there are. I admire a lot of people and I read about a lot of people. But at the moment, what's coming into mind, there's this particular athlete and she was diagnosed with chronic depression. She's had a lot of health problems, but like what she posts, I've read her book as well. She's just like, she's constantly so driven by the sport and she has so much drive given all that she's been through. Most athletes have a baggage.
Wow.
Like, and to be at that level, it takes a lot. Like I was lucky enough to, when I was there, I overheard the conversation of the current world record holder of the 400 meters. And I was hearing him say that physically his body was there, but mentally he knew he wasn't there. And the fact he didn't do that well, but he was telling his coach, like, mentally I'm not here, like, I don't know.
It's a
what I'm
mind
doing.
and body kind of thing.
And it's like to hear these people that they have to perform. And I think the Olympics showcase the importance of mental health. I mean, Simone Biles,
Echo.
she withdrew from all her competitions. She prioritized her mental health.
Even Osaka.
Naomi Osaka, she struggles a lot with mental health. Tipo,
It's great as well because as in mental
and you
health
have
is
to
such a
realize
taboo.
that these people, their life is sport, but at the same time, it takes so much to be at that level, to train and
The
to
price
keep
they
that
pay is-
level. Tipo, there's the pressure that...
I can imagine. As
Like,
in the pressure
when
of
I
the
was-
entire nation at the end of the day.
in
almost.
my heat there was the Shelly-Ann Fraser Price. She had the best time there, so she was like expected to win. Then I remember going out and I was thinking, tipo, I can't imagine the pressure she has right now. Tipo, I was just going to run against the time, but I was thinking, wow.
To defend.
Yeah.
And I could see her, like we had the screen before we went out and they showed the race before us.
Mm-hmm.
And the race before us, the person who came first ran a really good time. And I could like see her. She was like, she just looked at it and she just looked over and I was like, But imagine the pressure now, like
Yeah, because you
Very
kind
long
of,
off.
yeah, exactly. It's massive pressure. I can't imagine the pressure that you have at that moment. It's ridiculous. And then obviously you have everyone commenting after and you like,
I mean, social
that
media
doesn't
takes it to
help.
another level.
That never helps.
U l-fat li Malti, as in il-fat li taraw il-Malti marru l-Olympics u kol, as in I'm sure that also played a part.
100%.
Għax kienet kont atleta waħda out of enough.
But honestly, the support,
Yeah,
like
this dude,
Malta,
it's a double-edged sword,
It's,
Ecco.
well, it's something I always notice. Tipo, when there's someone on foreign, whatever, and he's doing something, the support, like
Yes.
Malta
Yes.
unites all together. And it's like
They're
yes.
like one of our own. And they can be like Maltese from like 2 generations in the
But-
past.
Yeah,
It doesn't
if you're
matter.
representing
They
Malta.
are Maltese. It doesn't matter.
Like, I
Not
can't begin to
Maltese,
explain.
Literally.
I can't begin to explain the amount of messages I got after the races. I was so overwhelmed. It was like, wow. And the races there were early morning. And Malta, since it's 7 hours behind, many people had to wake up at like 2 a.m.
To watch.
And there were people which I didn't even know that woke up at 2 a.m. I was
Oh
like,
my god, how sweet.
wow, that's amazing to know that there's that support.
That much support. Yeah.
As in, I'm pretty sure it helps to make it worth it.
100%.
Hafna,
And to build your
hafna.
morale as well, everything.
And technically it costs nothing, to be fair, as in such support.
Literally,
It's
literally.
nothing
It takes
to
this much for a person
but
to
it
feel.
means-
So much.
Like very little effort, but it
Yeah.
means a lot. Like I remember when we were there, the athletes were like, wow, like the messages you get, the recognition, everyone.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's like so cute. Like,
You have a whole group of people rallying up on your
it's like
favorite.
it's your whole country.
It's great. Would you do any other sport except for sprint? Do you practice any other sport except for sprinting?
Would like to.
Or would you like to? Exactly.
Strategy fencing.
I've tried like other sports in my free time. Like my friends go to play basketball, but
Not for you.
like I just run after the ball. That's the only thing I can do.
Running.
Exactly.
Then
There's a theme.
I tried tennis once, in my free time.
But
Didn't
sprinting.
really work. I like tennis. I like watching other sports, but I don't think I'm good at other sports. Maybe if I had to try something else, I don't know. I really like rugby.
That's true. To be fair, they have a
there's
running
this-
position.
There's this position exactly.
Aha.
Just stay at the sides. I don't know how it works exactly. There are a lot of rules, but
Tell us
just
in the
give you-
comments if it's any different.
You run on the ball.
just give you the ball and just have to run. That would be my job. I would be good at that.
Grab the ball and run.
But then when someone comes at me, I'm like,
That's where I'm done. I'm out. I resign.
I really like gymnastics as well.
Okay.
I used to do it after school, like for an hour, but it didn't really work. But like I really like watching other sports. Like
I think watching
even at
sports is
the Olympics, it really bummed me that I couldn't really watch other
Yeah.
sports. Then there are a lot like diving and gymnastics.
and you have some of the best there, isn't it?
That's the thing. Like when you're there, I was constantly telling myself like the only place where I could meet people would be at the food court because you're in your room,
You're at the
So when I'm like eating my cereal, whatever, and I'm like, wow, I'm surrounded by the best of the best here and the best of every sport.
It's amazing.
Kellogg's.
Man, تقول الكلوك.
That's good fitness. Like, example, the guy who won the 100 meters, like the night before, he was eating dinner like maybe 5 meters away from me.
And that's crazy.
Even Alison
Yeah,
Felix,
you-
she passed by me during breakfast, and I was like,
Oh my God.
God.
I would imagine you would get so starstruck that every like 5 seconds, like, oh my God, more people. And you're just there, I want to eat my food.
Then you see those guys, who taf introdu jiftaħru naqaw jinżlu bil-medalja li kien-
Vera. Oh my.
The worst.
Oh my. Oh my.
I mean, if I won an Olympic medal, I don't know what I would have
Would you be
done.
out?
So,
To be fair, when you have the medal at that point, it's like, fuck it.
who cares? You're the boss here. Like, you've done your job.
Literally.
Have we ever even won?
No.
I don't think so. No. That would be
on the same level tipo like korbaħna l-Eurovision.
literally.
There's era and there's whoever will win the medal.
No, if anyone ever gets an Olympic medal, I think it would just be put in a bubble and never move
100%.
from
Do you
there.
hear Republica?
Kollox.
That's okay.
Kollox.
They'll go around with their medal as a necklace.
Lifetime support.
They probably make like a street parade and just
Literally.
like,
Amazing.
You'd be
can't
adored.
wait. Can't wait. Yeah, Vera, can't
These are
wait.
the moments of national unity we need.
Vera. Very, very
It's
true. So, to kind of end it all off, let's do a little bit of a quick fire round. So we're just going to ask you some questions and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. They're
Okay.
very simple, so don't worry about it.
Right.
Okay, so name,
Carla Shiknuna,
age,
20,
locality.
Zaytun,
Wow,
South.
the 3
There's
Zs. Sports you have trained in, you already mentioned
athletics, gymnastics,
a few. Kind of. How long have you been training?
8 years.
Wow, long time. Favorite athlete? Kind of mentioned this as well.
Alison Felix, Tiana Bartoletta, can go on and on.
Endless. Favorite memory or experience?
I mean,
I would imagine.
the Olympics.
I would imagine running. I would imagine. Summer or winter? We had this conversation outside. A little bit of an in-between.
I think winter. I'm a winter
Okay.
person.
Okay.
Paprata, can I just add one?
Yes, go for it.
Any fun anecdotes from competitions or training? Did anything ever fuck up?
Trying to think.
or an embarrassing moment where you wanted
To die. Kif jgħid il-Malti it-lart blani.
I'm trying to think, but I'm blanking out. I'm sure there are. Definitely.
Think about it. We'll
I'll think about it.
We'll return to
Come
it.
mind.
Favorite place to travel? You've probably traveled a lot with competitions, I would imagine.
Let's be realistic. I think my go-to place would always be Rome.
Okay.
Very safe place. Carbonara.
Great
Great.
Great food.
Great.
I really like the architecture and going around just walking.
Very nice. Any future targets you'd like to reach?
Or goals, like within the next 5 years.
I mean,
Carla would
hopefully
like to.
I'll finish the course, become a
That's a
doctor.
massive goal.
Massive goal.
Going to
Doctor.
the Olympics was already one of the targets, so
Bucket
bomba.
list item off.
I mean, going to a second Olympics, I wouldn't say no, obviously. So that's obviously work hard for that.
Hopefully you'll get the full experience as well at that point.
Exactly.
2024 will come.
If I manage to become a doctor and maybe get a medal in the sport, that would be the ultimate
Life
goal.
set. Amazing.
Nice, auguri.
Yes. Good luck.
Eminem.
And if you think of any paprata, I'll write it in the description.
Carla said. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It was a great conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you guys next time on KOKKA Tales.
This is a Bay Original Podcast.